If you are not good at finding mistakes, take the problem at hand. So like this case, that x minus 7 is greater than negative 2. And then don't even look at their work. Just work it out. So add 7 to both sides. X is greater than negative 2. So you owe $2, but you get paid 7. So you're going to have a positive 5. And so we just solved it. Now I know that this is my right answer because I'm confident in my work. Now I'm going to look at their work. And that negative 2 and positive 7, they added them and got 9. So the error was that negative 2 plus 7 actually equals 5. So they messed up on their negative signs. And we've all done it. We've all had that day, right? The correct answer is your x is greater than 5. No need to flip. No need to do anything. So they did graph their answer correctly. They did graph x is greater than 9. But the mistake was right here. Hopefully that wasn't too bad when you saw it. Number 2. Find 4 consecutive whose sum is 62. So just consecutive integers. Then we have x, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 62. And all of these, we're going to add those together. Again, this is just, they've cleaned this up. So 1, 2, 3, 4x. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 plus 6 equals 62. And there's our answer right there. Number 3. So first and foremost, you're going to distribute that negative 4 times 4. So negative 16. I'm going to change it to an x just for conversation's sake. Negative 4 times a negative 5. It's going to be a positive 20 plus 4x is greater than 116. So we have to clean up on that left side, just like we did if like this is our great divide and these are regular equations, not an inequality. These are like terms, so we're going to put those together. So negative 16, I owe you $16, but I handed you 4. Means I still owe you 12. Positive 20. I need that 12x. I need to get x by itself. So we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. Negative 12x is greater than, and I don't want to do this math in my head. It's 96. It's a negative 12, negative 12, negative 12. Like this is when bells should be going off because that's that golden rule of inequalities. So that we divide by negative 12. We have to flip this side. So instead of going that way, it's now going to go this way. And it's going to be x is less than negative 8. Number 4, the sum of 2 consecutive integers is 123. So now we have to solve it all the way through. So x consecutive means plus x plus 1, because that's my second number, is 123. So 2x plus 1 equals 123. Get x by itself. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So 2x equals 122. 2x is 2 times x, and the inverse of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. And x is going to be 61. And the smallest of the 2 integers, so now that I have x is 61, so x equals 61. X plus 1 equals 62, because it's 61 plus 62. And the answer is 61, because it is the smallest of the two options. All right. It's giving me a warning on this guy. So we're going to solve an inequality. This is a 2-step, at least it reminds me of your 2-step equations. So don't panic. We have 7 in the basement or the denominator, so we're going to multiply both sides by 7 to get rid of this side. And that puts us at 4x plus 6 is less than 2 times 7 is 14. Now we have to get that x by itself. So I put x here, line of great divide, still the same game. We're going to minus 6 from both sides. So I end up with 4x is less than 8. 4x, again, is 4 times x. The inverse of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide. X is less than positive 2. And just for a reminder, that means it would be an open circle. It's less than, and it would shade to the left if that was 2. Number 6, again, this one they were looking to make sure that you're okay at moving variables to, like having variables on both sides would be what this would be called if you were wanting to look for more practice or wanted to tell me these are the ones that stumped you. So I'm going to get my variables on one side, my whole numbers on the other. Line of great divide. I want to work towards positive variables, so I'm going to move towards the larger one. You don't have to. Like if you happen to always want your x on the left for your inequalities, that's fine too. So 6 is greater than or equal to 3x plus 3. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. That's going to give me 3 is greater than or equal to 3x. Divide both sides by 3. 1 is greater than or equal to x. And in this case, they have b's. Sorry, I typed that out so it was more legible because when I screenshotted the equation, it was real ugly and hard to see. But that was a mistake. Don't worry, though. Variables are important, but which letter they use are not important. It's ultimately just saying they could all be hearts and smiley faces if you wanted them to be. It could be your initials. It could be anything. But the idea is that 1 is greater than or equal to x, or x is less than, or in this case, b is less than or equal to 1. So it should be C. Because if I flip him, it would look like that. All right, so we have C minus 10 plus 3C is less than 2. This is where we're going to clean up on this side first before we get into moving anything. So negative 10 plus 4C is less than 2. We need to get C by itself. And so we're going to add 10 to both sides. So we have 4C is less than 12 because of positive 2. Divide by 4. That's the inverse of multiplication. So C is less than 3. So we're looking for an open circle. All 3 of our choices have open circles. And it's going to be shaded to the left because it's less than. So at 3, well, this one's at negative 2 and shaded to the right, so that's no good. This is at 3 and shaded to the left with an open, or you also see your answer. So it should be B. The sum of 3 consecutive numbers is 93. What is the largest integer? So consecutive, again, that's going to be x, x plus 1, x plus 2, because it didn't say even or odd, equals 93. Then we're going to add these together. So that's 1, 2, 3x plus 3 equals 93. We need to get x by itself. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Gives me 90. 3 times x equals 90, so we got to divide by 3. And x is going to equal 30. Then the next one is going to be x plus 1, which would be 31. And then x plus 2 would be 32. So what is the largest? Your answer would be 32 for that guy. All right, number 9. Is negative 3 a solution to the inequality? So if it ever asks if it is a solution, that means would it be true? So you can go about it a couple different ways. You can either plug it in and see if it's true. Plug it in for x. So negative 3 is less than or equal to 4 times a negative 3 plus 18. Which should be negative 3 is less than or equal to a negative 12 plus 18. Negative 3 is less than or equal to negative 12 plus 18 should be 6. Positive 6. And then in that case, is that statement true? Is negative 3 less than or equal to 6? Okay, and I'll talk to you about that way, like the way you're talking about, which negative 6 is a choice. is probably the answer. So it's all numbers. I don't want to tell you wrong. So hold on. So yes, this is true. So then that way, this is a solution. Now, if you choose to solve the inequality, that means I get a negative 3x if I move my 4 over is less than or equal to 18. Divide by negative 3, negative 3. I divided by negative, so I have to flip my sign, negative 6. So all numbers larger than negative 6 are a solution. So on your number line, this would be your negative 6. So negative 6 is a solution, and then everything towards 0. So you could do your test point of 0 and make sure you're shading in the right direction. So that'd be negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 107 are all accurate solutions to that inequality. Oh, no worries, no worries. I think I mentioned at one point, and this sounds so silly, but wherever you do your schoolwork or in your notes somewhere, if you have a number line or as soon as you start taking a quiz, in Math 1, it's very helpful to have a pretty basic number line. It doesn't even have to be big. It could be negative 5 to positive 5. Because especially for inequalities, it's easy to look at a 3 and think it's larger. Think it's smaller than a negative 6, just because you've had more practice in your math careers with positive numbers. So in positive numbers, 3 is less than 6. But when you go the other way, it's the opposite. So for me, and especially when I was in my classroom, I had a number line around the entire classroom, around the ceiling. Though it seems very elementary for some of you, maybe, I'm telling you, it's a game changer as far as not making silly mistakes. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if we discussed it, you know. But when you're by yourself, like I said, it's easy to look at a 3 and think it is actually smaller than a negative 6. That's number 9. Oh, no. Hold on. Number 10. The sum of 3 consecutive odds. So 3 consecutive odd equals 141. And we're choosing all the answers that apply. So odd means I'm going to use x, x plus 2, and x plus 4, because that's 1, 2, 3, equals 141. We're going to add them together because it's their sum. 1, 2, 3x. 2 plus 4 is 6, equals 141. We're going to solve it by getting our x by itself. Great divide. We're minus 6 on both sides. And so I get 3x equals 135. Then that's 3x is 3 times x. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And I get 45. So x equals 45. X plus 1 is going to be 46. Oh, x plus 2. Holy moly, look at me. I just did exactly what they would tell you would be your big dummy mistakes. And then x plus 4 is 49. So 45, 47, 49. So 45, 47, and 49. And the kicker would be to remember that they're odd after that 45. So 46 would be even and would not answer that correctly. All right. 3 consecutive even integers. What is the smallest? So 3 consecutive even. So same. X, x plus 2, x plus 4 equals a negative 54. Now, I will say that the call out on this guy, in my opinion, is at negative 54 and them asking for the smallest or largest. Because you will get to where this is very easy, hopefully, and you'll just jump at your first answer choice, and you got to be careful. So 3x plus 6 equals a negative 54. We're going to get that 3x by itself. Great divide. We're going to minus 6 from both sides. Negative 60, because I spent more money than I already spent 54. I spent 6. I spent 60 total. Divide by 3, because that's 3 times x. So x equals a negative 20. So if x equals a negative 20, x plus 2 is a negative 18. X plus 4 is a negative 16. Because you're paying off that debt when you add. So then at that rate, your smallest should be the negative 20. Because it's the furthest away from 0. You would rather owe 16 or rather owe 18. than owing $20. Not that it's a huge difference, but nonetheless, negative 20. As far as negative 24, Logan, you want to tell me where you got 24? Or do you see where you might have made a mistake? I bet you went negative 20, negative 22, negative 24, would be my guess. Which is what I was saying, that for me, as soon as I see a negative on the output, I know, like, oh, ding, 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 slow down for a second. Because, again, if this was a positive 20, it'd be 20, 22, 24. But it's negative, and you're adding a positive 2, which means it's getting closer to 0 instead of further away from 0. Yeah, it happens. Okay, what inequality represents the sentence? The product of a number and 12 is no more than 15. So no more than means it is that, but not more. So that's going to be less than or equal to 15. The product is multiplication, so 12n in this case is less than or equal to 15. So no more than. So again, the way when I think about that, you're going to come over and mow somebody's lawn, and they say I'm going to pay you no more than $15. But that means they could have paid you $15. They also could pay you $5, $7, $10, just depending. But never, you're not going to make more than 15. If you haven't picked up on it, food and money are the two things that I try to associate as much math with as possible, because those things are like life as far as I'm concerned. So it's 12n is less than or equal to 15. It's going to be D. No more than 15. All right, number 13. So this is one of your compounds. It says and. So before I even got into solving, I would look at my answer choices, because sometimes you don't have to do any math. But in this case, they are all overlapped. They're the insides, the ands, not the ors going out like arms. So we are going to have to solve it. So 5x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 10. We'll subtract 10 from both sides. 5x is greater than or equal to 0. 5x, divide by 5. X is greater than or equal to 0. So we know it's going to be a solid circle shaded to the right at 0. So right here, that means I can get rid of this one, and I can get rid of this one without doing any more math, because that is past 0. 0 is over here. And then to solve our next one, so 7x minus 7 is less than or equal to 14. One about sneeze, sorry guys. Woo. All right, 7x. We're going to add 7 to both sides. It's less than or equal to 21. I'm going to divide both sides by 7. X is less than or equal to 3. So it's going to be a solid circle at 3 and then shaded to the left. So this solid circle is at 1. This one is at 3, so our answer is D. Or if you read the answer choices above it, then you know your math was right as well. Number 14, what did Matt do wrong when solving the following inequality? Hopefully this one wasn't too bad, because it wasn't necessarily a lot of solving. This is your golden rule again of inequalities. He divided by a negative, so you have to flip the sign. So you forgot, when multiplying or dividing by a negative, the inequality must flip, is our answer. There is no error. Trust me, and I don't know how to convince people of this. If I give you an error analysis problem, there's definitely an error. I will not give you one that there's not a mistake, because that's just torture and not nice. So whenever that is an answer choice, scratch that one off. Just because you're here and I can give you all the ins and outs of the things I do. All right, una más. Solve and graph the following inequality. So I have x over 3 minus 1 is greater than or equal to negative 3. Just like our regular inequalities, I'm going to add one. Our regular equations, I'm going to add one to both sides. So at the moment, I'm putting my inequality on pause as far as my brain's concerned. I just need to get x by itself first. The 3's on the bottom, so that's x divided by 3. Or most of us have gotten used to saying x over 3, but if you change your verbiage in your head, x divided by 3 Then you know the inverse of division is multiplication. So multiply by 3. So x is greater than or equal to negative 6. Greater than or equal to means we know we're going to have a solid circle. And it's greater than, so we're going to shade to the right of that negative 6. They're all at negative 6, which is perfect. This guy has an open circle, which means it's out. That's no good. This is less than, which is not good. So our answer should be C. It's greater than because it's colored to the right. Talk to me.